Hello everybody and welcome back to a more interesting video, one that's going to need a little bit of explanation. What we're going to be doing today is taking a look at a project that I started 8 years ago, way back in 2012, and essentially what I did is I created my own modified version of Windows. Now Windows is obviously a major focus of this channel, but one of the other things we did is, or what we still do, is we take a look at how to modify Windows and how to kind of tweak it a little bit. We've taken a look at programs like WinArrow Tweaker and some themes that you can get to change the appearance of Windows. We've even taken a look at some unofficial versions of Windows. And I kind of made one of those. Well, again, this was years ago, way back in 2012. This project we're going to be taking a look at today, I have not seen in many years, but what makes this kind of unique is it's based around Portal. And I know this sounds so weird. You can see by the name here, Glados August Test Release, you can probably get a little bit of a gist of what this is going to be. So this contains a lot of Portal references. I made a lot of modifications to the boot screen and the icons and things like that with like Aperture Science branding and, you know, some like icons from things you would see in Portal, things like that. And you might be wondering why I did this. Well, I guess I was bored in the summer of 2012 when I sat down and started working on this. And I got this idea initially from seeing a project called Windows Cement. And that may ring a bell to some of you guys if you've seen this video right here. It's really poking fun and making a mockery out of Windows Vista. But they kind of say that Vista was created to be terrible, and to create it, Microsoft took the worst parts from Windows CE, Windows ME, and Windows NT and created Windows Cement. So a group of, I guess you could say, modders or Windows customization enthusiasts took the name Windows Cement to create their own modified version of Windows 2000, and they created this website where you could download it. And I actually did a video, well, a unreleased video. This is some material that's never been shown on this channel before. This is a video from, gosh, when was this created? 2010. This was recorded on February 28th, 2010, and my channel was opened on January 30th, 2010. So this was a video that, for whatever reason, I never released, and you can see that I was going to Mega Upload, that's where this was hosted at the time, to download Cement 2.0 hard disk, which is the latest version of Windows Cement at this time. And so yeah, this was never released. I've got a part 2 here, and this is actually when I was loaded into Windows Cement. So this is how Windows Cement looked, and really what they did is they modified a lot of the visual elements. They changed some of the branding. You see it says Windows Cement in the start menu here. They added some programs, things like that. Well, one of the people who worked on this created a tutorial. I believe it was the PC Trickster right here. I'm pretty sure it was this person. Created a tutorial that is now non-existent, at least I couldn't find it over on YouTube, on how to modify Windows 2000, how to modify some of the system files, change the branding, and, you know, really customize it. And this was accomplished through using programs like Resource Hacker, which is a very useful program. It's been updated. I mean, this is not the look of the, well, the version of the program that I used was much older than this, obviously back in like 2000. Well, this was created in 2012. But I think I kind of experimented a little bit before that. And so I followed along with his tutorial. I learned how to use Resource Hacker and how to modify some of these system files, and I ended up creating my own modified version of this specific version here is based on Windows 98. And I decided to make it Portal themed, essentially because I was into Portal at this time. I still am too. Portal is a great game. Portal 2 is a great game. I'd highly recommend both of them if you've never played them before. And Portal 2 had just come out about a year prior in 2011, so I was really into these games, and for whatever reason I said, you know what, we're gonna take some stuff from the game and bring it into a Windows version, modify some stuff around, and I called it Glados August Test Release. And this name here is actually based on two things. Glados is obviously, well, if you've played the game, you know exactly who she is. And August Test Release is, I believe May Test Release was a test release of Windows 95. So I took that, I was working on this in August of 2012, so I called it Glados August Test Release. That's really creative, as you can tell with the naming scheme here. And so this right here is the boot screen. It's not animated, it's just a static image I took the Aperture Laboratories logo and wrote GLaDOS version 1.0 August test release down at the bottom. Again, really creative here. And here is our loading screen, or our login screen here, and you can see that the hourglass was changed to that animated Aperture Laboratories logo. Some wallpaper I found on Google Images, and I put it in here. And you've got your same login prompt. This is essentially unchanged. Now, I should say that this is not something that I wrote from scratch. I think that that's pretty obvious. Essentially what I did is, like I said, I used Resource Hacker. I believe there's one other program that I used. I think it's ExeScape or something like that. We're going to see once we load into to Windows, or I guess we could say GLaDOS, once we load into GLaDOS here. ExeScope, that's the name of the program, and Resource Hacker. I essentially changed every instance of Windows that I could find to GLaDOS. So this says, type the name of a program, folder, document, or internet resource, and GLaDOS will open it for you. It normally says Windows will open it for you. So if we click OK here to launch WinVer, this has been modified, so now it has GLaDOS branding. I couldn't figure out how to change this logo, I guess, at the time, so this remained the same, but all the text up here was changed. So GLaDOS version 1.0 August test release, copyright 2012, Aperture Science, and the text up here has been changed as well. But I also modified a lot of the icons as well, so you can see that we've got like the My Computer icon. This was some icon pack that I found on like DeviantArt, and I just downloaded it and used. I mean, you can easily change icons. This is not like the most complicated thing to do. It's not rocket science, but I was able to change the icons and even the default folder icon as well. So this is a very Windows 7, it kind of looks like a Windows Vista or Windows 7 folder, but just changed to this grayish color. And then you've got like the My Documents folder, the My Pictures folder. All of these have been changed as well. And you saw when I went into the Windows folder, I had changed the branding over here to the Aperture Science logo. We can show the files, and here's all the files in here. And I also changed the actual Windows shell executable to glados.exe. So this is the original unmodified explorer.exe, but the Windows shell that's running right now is this glados.exe. And if I were to open up Task Manager, you can see that this GLaDOS process right here is the Windows shell that is running, because if I try to close out of it, it comes up with the shutdown prompt, which has also been modified. And I missed an opportunity to change shutdown in MS-DOS mode. Did you guys see that? But oh gosh, what else have I done here? I believe I changed. Okay, so here's one instance where it still says Windows 98. This about box has been changed as well. Everything, GLaDOS version 1.0. Oh, this is interesting. So GLaDOS version 1.0 are Windows. It still says Windows here. This was not changed. Physical memory available to GLaDOS, that has been changed, obviously. What are some of the more interesting things? I mean, like I said, I've not taken a look at this in years. So I have to kind of go through here and just like, go, okay, what did I do? Yeah, Icon Tweaker. This is the program I used to change the icon pack. This was very simple to do. And I did mention earlier that the cursor was changed as well. If we were to go into Control Panel, we could see that. So let's go into Control Panel here. The Control Panel, the icon for Control Panel itself was changed, but none of these icons in here were. But if we go to Mouse and Pointers, I did change. These are the two animated cursors here. The busy cursor and the working in background cursor that were changed. Every other cursor appears to have remained the same. I don't think there's any sounds. I actually don't even think I have the sound driver installed. Yeah, so you can't even play sounds. I don't even have that set up. But I can show you how ExeScope works if I still remember how this works. What you can do is open an exe file. So let me just open up WinVer, for instance, and I can show you how I modified WinVer. So we'll go into Windows, and we'll just search for WinVer here, and open it up. And if you go under Resource and Dialog, and you go to 100 here, so this is the dialog of the window itself. So you can even change things like, which I didn't really mess with this at all, you can add, like normally if I were to open up WinVer, normally it doesn't have a, oh yeah, well it's open in this program right now. Normally it doesn't have a maximize button. Well, you can add that, and if you check this here, you can do that. But to change the dialogue itself, this is where that I added, copyright C 2012 Aperture Science Incorporated. You can even change the positioning of all these elements, so it's like really easy to work with. and then to save it, I think you have to say, save update, permit to change the file size. I think that's what you do. So you close out of that. Now if I were to open up WinVer, yeah, now you can see there's a maximize button on here, so you can maximize the window. So yeah, that's how it works. Really, really simple stuff. Resource Hacker is very useful as well. You can open up certain exe files with it, like welcome.exe. You can open that up, but if you try to open up WinVer in this, it will not work. Let me just show you. If I open up WinVer, it'll just say this is not a valid Win32 executable file, because it's not, so you have to use exe scope for that. But you can open up, like I could open up welcome.exe, and you could see, so this is the cursor that it uses. These are all of the bitmaps. So basically what you do is you go through here, and I would change the bitmap of various things. And the way you change the text of the start button, you modify explore.exe. So here's explore.exe, which obviously contains a lot of bitmaps. Like if we go to bitmaps here, you see you've got all these bitmaps, and these are various files that I could have modified. For whatever reason I didn't. So these are going to be things like, this is in the taskbar and start menu properties. These are some of the things that will show up there. Yeah, for whatever reason I didn't change these. And this image right here is what you can change to modify the banner that appears in the start menu. The reason it's not modified is because this is the original explorer.exe file. It's not the shell that is currently loaded, that glados.exe file that was modified, that contains all these modifications. So this is what you modify to change the banner in the start menu. And if we go under string table, there is a string in here named start. So if I were to change this to whatever, you know, and then compile script, and then if I were to launch this version of Explorer, it would replace this text right here. So again, really, really simple stuff. It's just very tedious because you have to go through here. Like I spent hours over multiple days just going in here and like, okay, what can I modify? Trying to find every reference to Windows and change it to GLaDOS. I don't believe Resource Hacker has a like find one phrase and replace it with this, so I don't think that would have been the best thing to do, because there's obviously going to be things that are called Windows that like might be pertaining to a file path that you don't want to modify. So I didn't really want to do that, even if there was a feature like that. But yeah, these two programs are essentially how I did it, and I'm just trying, let's see if there's anything else that comes to mind. Oh, we can go into the computer properties, or the system properties here. And this actually isn't as modified as I thought. All I did was change the version here, or the name of the operating system, the GLaDOS version 1.0. There's no August test release or anything like that. Everything else, for the most part, looks pretty standard. Log off, I believe, yeah, log off GLaDOS, so I sure want to log off. I could have probably changed this icon, I just probably didn't open up the file that contains the bitmaps you have to modify with Resource Hacker or with exe scope. Oh, here's another example, taskbar and GLaDOS menu. Obviously I just changed the name of the start menu to the GLaDOS menu, and so that change takes effect up here on the tab, as well as, well, all these references to Windows have also been changed here. This, I don't think any of this was modified in here, like this this window here, I don't think was modified. But this was just the initial August test release, and I think that my plan was to kind of have a release structure, like this was ever going to get released, but like have a development and release structure similar to the Windows operating system itself. So we would have a test release, and well, then I actually jumped into beta with the next version, which was called Beta 1. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you that because, well, somehow the hard disk got corrupted. This is very unfortunate, but this is GLaDOS Beta 1, and it's based on Windows 2000 as opposed to Windows 98. And let me show you what happens. Yeah, we get error loading operating system. So I did something wrong somewhere. I was able to boot into this before, like I think I did it a few years ago, but obviously I wasn't making a video on this at the time. But yeah, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to look at this, but this one I did a lot more modifications to. I don't think there's anything else that, oh, under documents here you can see these are all of the files that I was going through. What is this? Oh, that's interesting. So for some reason it says like UUUY.bmp, but it opens up first boot.bmp. Yeah, you can usually tell, like, oh gosh, I wonder if I open up regedit, like, what was the last registry key that I was in? Oh wow, I actually closed it. So, because sometimes, like on Windows Cement, there's actually a point in this video. Let me pull it up here. There was a point in this video where I opened up a regedit, and they had a So like I just open up, like I just go to run and I type in regedit, and they had a registry key open that they were in. They were in the WinLogon key, modifying something in here. So I actually closed it out. It's like to make it look like, oh yeah, you know, there was no modifications done in here. But this is how you would go in to change what shell that the system starts up with. So let me see if I still remember this. I believe it's under HK Local Machine, Software, Microsoft, not Mozilla, Microsoft, Windows. Is it Windows? Oh yeah, this is not Windows NT. Windows current version WinLogon. Well, I had the right idea. If I was on a Windows NT based system, that is the key that you would go to. You can see that local machine software, Microsoft, Windows NT current version WinLogon. Obviously, there's no Windows NT key in this version of Windows because it's not an NT based version, but this is where you can change the shell entry right here. They had changed this to cement shell nt.exe, which is just a modified explorer.exe. So that's how you do that. Let me see if there's anything else. Icon tweaker. Ooh, Crystal. This is a Crystal XP program. That's interesting. We actually took a look at some Crystal XP Bryco packs a little while ago on this channel. The like Longhorn Inspirit theme and a couple of those, yeah. So that's kind of interesting. Here is a, what is this, some BMP file. Oh, I can't find it. Look at that. that's funny. Documents, first boot.bmp. This is, oh, let me see if I can find the boot screen. I believe that's just contained in the Windows folder somewhere. Let me just look up the. Yeah, it's C Windows. Yeah, it's logow.sys. I believe if you open this up with, it might be under, it might be exe scope. Is it exe scope? Because you can see there's this old, yeah, logow.old. So this has to be. No, okay. How is this modified then? Oh, I think what you have to do is literally just modify the file extension. So you do logow.bmp, and yeah, so you open this. So this right here is the shutting down dialog. So basically what you do is you just change, like this right here, if I were to, let's change this back to logow.sys, and then we change logow.old to .bmp and open this up. This will be the original shutdown screen. So yeah, that's how, despite Windows not wanting you to change file extensions, that's how you modify this. So we'll just, oh, I don't want to change it to sys, I want to change it to .old. Logow.old. Now I believe logo.sys, or logos.sys, I think this is the, no, this is, okay, this is the, it's now safe to turn off your computer. There's another one. There's going to be a .old file somewhere, because that's what I would do. I would keep the original file, but just change the extension to .old. So you can see here's an example of that. This is setup.old. There was probably setup. Is it setup.bmp? No? Oh, it's actually in the root directory. I think you just had to create this logo.sys file. And then, yeah, so basically what you would do is create, because there normally would not be a logo.sys file in here. You would just, because see, there's no logo.old. So you would create this, and then Windows would use this logo.sys file for the boot screen. It's obviously not animated, though. That was the thing that was kind of unfortunate. So yeah, you would do this, just add this file here with your custom boot screen, and then Windows would use that. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I did, and I just essentially went along with tutorials like that video tutorial that I mentioned, also some guides that I'm sure I found online. Like I just looked up how to change the Windows 98 boot screen. I found an old, this actually is not an old post, it's from like 2019, but there were, yeah, a lot of resources out there that I just used, and I was like, let's just do this. And this is what I was up to in August of 2012, and it exists. So, and this was the first time that I've ever demonstrated this publicly. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's a little bit of a different video, but if you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to get subscribed down below, and turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already, to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do multiple times every single week on this channel. And as always, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.